Shalom everyone. It is Monday, August the 12th, 2019. It's the 11th day of the 5th Hebrew month. If you're new to my channel, my name's Daniel Lee. I live here in beautiful Juneau, Alaska. It's about 70 degrees right now. Perfect for August. This is my mission statement. If you're new, I preach and teach the Hebrew Jewish roots. Oh, wait a minute, I can't even see the sign. There we go. Sorry, there's a glare on the phone, so I can't see my sign here. I teach the Hebrew Jewish roots of the Christian faith on my website, spiritandtorah.com. I exalt Jesus, Yahshua, the Messiah, on this website. He's the only way, truth, and the life. I expose satanic pedophiles through investigative reporting on my YouTube channel. I provide satanic ritual abuse survivors a platform to speak out on. I protect the innocent children by virtue of these other things. And I lead a nightly Zoom room prayer meeting every single night where we pray for President Trump, this nation, other subscribers, and each other. Okay, so as I promised, I'm getting into this is gonna be my third video now on the child sex trafficking as connected to children's hospitals in the Dayton, Ohio area. And the whole reason I got onto this was because last week I began to see that the mass shootings in both El Paso and Dayton were directly connected to satanic pedophiles. So the deep state tried to use these mass shootings to redirect the attention of the American population. And in fact, this is directly connected to the very topic that they want obscured and hidden. So we're gonna get right back into this. This is now my third video, and I'll link the other two videos I did last week below this one in case you missed those. First one, and this was sent to me by Kimberly, a subscriber. This was just released. When was this released? The 11th, so just yesterday. Ohio native John Legend visit Dayton's Oregon district, calls for stricter gun laws. Okay, so John Legend, you know, the big actor from La La Land, he's out there advocating for stricter gun laws. I didn't even realize he was a native to Ohio, and so he's out there in Dayton, Ohio. John Legend, if you've listened to Liz Crokin reported months ago that John Legend is a big-time satanic pedophile. Huge. And if you don't know who Liz Crokin is the journalist who was part of the mainstream media, and when she started uncovering and exposing child sex trafficking, they kicked her out of the mainstream media. And she comes out with videos every few weeks or so. But she exposed that. So here we have this major satanic pedophile, this major elite Hollywood satanic pedophile, John Legend, right there in Dayton advocating for stricter gun laws. So that's a huge connection. Then this was posted on Twitter. Now this is a visual that I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to show just because of I'm outside here. So I have to do another video where you can see this more clearly. What this graph shows, though, is that the supposed mother of the shooter in Dayton, Ohio, Mariah Betts, she's an assistant store manager at Bath and Body Works. Now, Bath and Body Works is one of the companies that Les Wexner founded and owned. Remember, Les Wexner is the very close, intimate confidant with Jeffrey Epstein. He owned Victoria's Secrets. Q exposed him, and now Les Wexner is trying to distance himself as much as possible from Epstein by saying that Epstein, mismanaged his money and all this blah, 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 this stuff. But Les Wexner, owner of Victoria's Secrets and Bath and Body Works, where the shooter's mother was a manager, an employee. Wow. So the very shooter was tied directly to a company owned by Les Wexner. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. So just another thing to put into the evidence that keeps coming out about the pedophilia and its connection to the mass shooting in Dayton. Now, I talked about last week this Dr. Atik Durrani. Dr. Atik Durrani was someone who was a major surgeon, a doctor at one of the children's hospitals in the Dayton area. Okay, and he actually caused a lot of harm to different children. It was reported that he would literally take a break in the middle of a surgery, go have sex with one of his nurses, come back, and he fled. And it's rumored that one of his Pakistani brothers actually helped smuggle him through the Texas-Mexico border, and he escaped to Pakistan. Well, got a lot more information on him. I'm gonna post these links right below this video so you guys can look at this. But there's this is from Islamabad. He claims to be one of the highest qualified orthopedic and spinal surgeons of Pakistan, and many agree, but he's also been on the wanted list of the United States for healthcare fraud and medical malpractices since he fled from there to escape a trial. His license has been suspended by Pakistan Medical and Dental Council, whereas Punjab Healthcare Commission is considering action against the elite hospital for allowing him to continue to practice. So he's still practicing right now in Pakistan. Now, there's a variety of links I'm going to put here. One is a doctor of dubious distinctions, kind of goes into the background of who this guy is. Another one, Dr. Atiq Durrani, medical director, Orthopedic, Pediatric, and Spine Institute. Again, this is just sort of a link to his LinkedIn showing his, his history. And then another one is actually an interview with embattled surgeon Dr. Atiq Durrani, where he's sort of denying all this stuff. But I wanted to just provide more background because this was a major doctor in the Dayton Children's Hospitals who was working there, who's directly connected not only to malpractice, I think he was probably involved in child sex trafficking and pedophilia. I have a feeling that this is going to come to light as more investigations are upon him. And man, Pakistan better give this guy up. I tell you what, they better give him up to the United States because he evidently caused lots of harm to various children that he was working on. Now, I got another email. I did not get permission to use her name, so I'll just say, she said, I wanted to mention something regarding children's hospitals. I live in Sandy Hook, Connecticut, which is very close to the area I grew up in, which is the affluent Westchester County, New York. The county is just north of New York City, and within it lives the Clinton family in Chappaqua, George Soros in Catanoa, and Clive Davis in Bedford. Geffen, Modelland, many more of the rich and famous. I just wanted to tell you that the county hospital is a teaching hospital with subpar care. Many people I know of in the upper middle class variety have had sick kids that have gone to and been admitted to this hospital. Attached to this hospital is a larger building called the Children's Hospital. It is a big, beautiful hospital that was completed a decade ago. Although the locals I know of thought the hospital was more of a laundering operation because despite having sick kids, none have ever been admitted to this place. It's a rumor, I know, but with all the info you've dug up, I thought maybe this might connect it. So I wanted to read this out, even though it's not directly in the Dayton area, because again, I think this children's hospitals things may be a complete nationwide problem that needs to be more fully investigated. So I wanted to throw this out as sort of some stuff that this subscriber who lives right next to a children's hospital in New York, just north of New York City, wanted to share. Now, let's see here. I want to talk about another subscriber, Matthew. He had contacted me last week as well with other information. He was the one that talked about the GM plants. He also sent me this. He said, I used to work with the GM retiree, and this was General Motors, the plants that were located in the Dayton, Ohio, and throughout the Ohio area. And he would talk about tunnels all the time. He said that the tunnels also run to Wright-Patt Air Force Base and another tunnel to Miamisburg Mound Laboratories for atomic energy for nuclear weapons. He said armed guards are present in the tunnels 24/7. So that was just a little extra tidbit that he wanted to talk about. He was the one that I talked about last week who talked about these large tunnels that connected the GM plants, and then there was these smaller tunnels that were only about 5.5 foot tall, with maybe the size for two men to walk side by side, or probably more likely two women, because it was only 5.5 feet tall, so it'd have to be a shorter individual. And these tunnels would be directly beneath these rail lines that would come in from Mexico. And so he was postulating, is this part of the child sex trafficking that came into Ohio? Well, just mentioning this as well, being linked to other places like this atomic energy laboratory for nuclear weapons. Is that all connected into it? I'm not sure. That's something I'm going to have to do more digging on. Another subscriber, her name is Kara, she said, my daughter was born 2006 at the Middletown Hospital in Ohio, which is smack dab in between Cincinnati and Dayton. We actually lived in Monroe. It was all connected. Anyway, I went back in June to reminisce about my life as a new wife and a mommy. I am very sentimental, and I was brokenhearted that the hospital where my firstborn was born was torn down, and a new one had been built by the highway, I think around 2017. In driving by the site, we found it odd, and turned out I was recording our conversation in reaction to the hospital site. I called the new hospital Trader Hospital, LOL. The old site almost seems like maybe they buried things, they were hiding things. It wasn't near the highway, so maybe it was old and inconvenient. Anyway, I was there in June visiting my stepsons in Tip City, Dayton area, and staying with good friends in Mason, Cincinnati area, and I did notice all the new children's hospitals since we had left in 2007. I thought to myself, are there that many kids here? See, my middle daughter had dilated cardiomyopathy, heart failure, and we started at Cincinnati's Children's Hospital back in 2009. But thank God we were pointed to our hospital here where we live now. She has since healed, but that's our connections. And I personally struggled with liking Ohio. Maybe some of it was an underlying spiritual warfare of evil. Maybe this will help your research. We just found it odd that our little Middletown hospital was torn down. Maybe this is all nothing, but I traveled the I-75 many times, or excuse me, I traveled the 75 many times and noticed what you were talking about so many of these hospitals springing up recently. So again, yeah, and you know, I've had some naysayers contact me and say, well, Daniel, you know, Cincinnati may not itself be that much of a population, but all the suburbs, and it's just across the river from Kentucky, and so close to all the, you know, there's more of an explanation, but I still don't buy it. Portland has a lot of suburbs too. They have a metro area of 3.5 million, I think. It's also across the river from Vancouver, Washington, and yet they only have a few children's hospitals. And I know Portland is a major child sex trafficking hub. That's been brought to light quite obvious over the last year. So why would Cincinnati have 12? No, it was 14 children's hospitals just along that was it 75 corridor, whatever the corridor is between Cincinnati and Dayton. I have to look at my map again. So I also wanted to report on this. This is an actual news story dated August 12th, 2019. Former county administrator, CPS board member, and pastor's wife sentenced to prison for child sex trafficking involvement. And this was in Toledo, Ohio. Remember, President Trump said, we think accidentally, he said Toledo when he was talking about the Dayton shootings. Maybe it wasn't so accidental. I don't think it was. Laura Lloyd Jenkins, the former Toledo, Ohio County Administrator and board member of Lucas County Children's Services, has been sentenced to a prison sentence for her involvement in a child sex trafficking scandal involving 3 Ohio pastors, one of which was her ex-husband. Lloyd Jenkins pleaded guilty to charges of lying to federal investigators regarding what she knew about her ex-husband and 2 other patriots in a child sex trafficking case involving a teenage girl associated with their churches. And again, if you've listened to my channel for any period of time, you know that this is not just restricted to schools or to children's hospitals. It's in churches as well. I've reported on Kenneth Copeland, I've reported on Oral Roberts, and Mark Taylor said most of these mega churches that you see, regardless of the denomination, they got there on the backs of child sex trafficking, satanic ritual abuse, cannibalism. This is all stuff that's going to be shown that's been going on in these major mega churches. It's not just the Catholic Church, although the Catholic Church has also been heavily involved in satanic pedophilia for millennia. Oh boy, okay, so this was a lot of material here that I've sort of packed into this video. I'm gonna provide links to the information that I'm able to provide links for. Clearly, this now my 3rd major video on this topic. There is definitely some links to child sex trafficking and children's hospitals, not just in the Dayton area, but children's hospitals being used as a front and a vehicle for child sex trafficking. So this stuff has got to be reported on. It's got to be put out there. Again, one of the main reasons for my channel to exist is to raise the awareness so that people understand what's going on, so that we can get this out into the public sphere, and it does impact others who are actually able to do something about this. And I guarantee you, this stuff that I'm reporting, I guarantee you President Trump has already known about this stuff, and he's working on it. Probably we don't even know about some of the stuff that's happening. A lot of this stuff has to remain sort of classified as it goes forward, but I would not be surprised if our Attorney General Barr starts naming some children's hospitals as being connected to some of this stuff. We'll see as the year unfolds and as time proceeds. All right, if you guys like what I'm doing, if you appreciate what I'm doing, if you think I'm working hard and I deserve to be paid, this is my full-time job. I love doing what I do. I couldn't think of anything I'd rather be doing because I think this is so important. If you want to help me out, my PayPal link is right below this video. You just have to unfold the description box with the little down arrow or the show more or little upside down triangle if you have a phone, or there's other ways to unfold it. I also have a Patreon. You can pledge any monthly amount you'd like if you click on my Patreon link, and then that amount is taken out of your bank account at the beginning of each month. And I also have a P.O. box if you want to send something through snail mail and you don't want to send a donation by the internet. Thank you to all those who are supporting me financially, allowing me to do this full time. I also appreciate all the prayers. And again, we do have a prayer team that meets every single night. So if you want our prayer team to pray for you, we will do so. Just email me. My email's also below the video, every video I make. And we'll get that prayer request to our prayer team, and we will definitely pray for you. All right, Yah bless you guys. Shalom, shalom. There's so much that's coming out now, so much that's coming to light. It's exciting. Even though this is dark material, it's exciting to see this stuff being exposed, because that's the first step to getting this stuff stopped, protecting our children. Okay. I can't believe it's been a year now. A year I was standing here talking about the satanic pedophilia of Antonin Scalia. And then, of course, I would go on to interview David Schroeder, who was abused by him. Yeah, this is not restricted to just conservative Republicans or liberal Democrats. That whole left-right paradigm, it's out the window. Satanic pedophiles have been in all different political classes, all socioeconomic places. It's not just nefarious Jews in Israel who have the Talmud that does sanction child sex, but the Quran also sanctions child sex. Muhammad had sex with little children. And now we're seeing even modern lukewarm Christianity that's not following the Bible is sanctioning child sex trafficking behind closed doors. It's reaching everywhere, and all of it's being exposed. And my prayer is that as it is exposed, as these people come under justice, it will unite the American people like never before. All right, God bless you guys. Shalom, shalom.